now. And welcome back to another edition of the MLB Inside the Diamond podcast. I'm your host, Tom Johnston. I'm with LaMarr Fields. How you doing, brother? Happy Father's Day and a happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there.
Thank you.
No problem. Now we got a big rundown. First off, how's your week been?
Been pretty good. Yours?
It ain't too bad, just living life to the fullest as much as I can. First news is first. Shohei Ohtani is I can't even explain this guy. I mean, I seen an Instagram post the other day. I don't know if it was MLB on Fox or who it was, but it literally just shows like Shohei is like legitimately leading the Angels in every statistical offense and like pitching category there is. And on top of that, like I believe it was yesterday, he also hit his 150th career home run. Everybody's been talking about this because Shohei's in his contract year. He's going to command a big contract. Here's my guess, Lamar. Could we see actually Ohtani, instead of becoming a $500 million man, can we see him become a $600 million man?
It's possible. I mean, with his talent, teams will be willing to pay just about anything for a guy that can pitch at a high level and hit at a very high level. Yeah, it's unprecedented in this day and age. So I can see him getting somewhere like that for a team that got a lot of money and want to get him. It's gonna be a high. It's gonna be a high price bidding war. Definitely gonna be a record breaking contract.
Now, here's my question to you is how many years do you see him getting? Because it's not going to be a short-term $500 or $600 million deal. Could we see it break like a benchmark, not only just salary-wise, but long-term wise too? Could we see him get something maybe in a similar realm of like a Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, but just long-term wise?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely gonna be 10, 12 plus years on that contract.
No, I definitely agree
Yeah.
because if you're looking at say $600 million over the span of like say, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this. I might predict that he might get a now. There have been times where we've seen long-term contracts with bad luck, but I don't see his progress slowing down. I see it exponentially growing,
Yeah.
and I honestly might say he might command a 14-year, $600 million deal just because somebody's going to see the value in him. I think that the Angels see that, and even to bounce off this week, I got a chance to look at the AL West standings and see how, like, it's not like the Angels are not in the thick of it. They are. They're like 4 games out, I believe, and they're starting to turn things around now. Give Grant they are on a road trip right now against the Royals and stuff like that, which can actually help their cause. But I honestly think that overall, I mean, to me, the AL West is like wide open. I mean, you've seen the injury with DeGrom, and you've seen how that's kind of taken a toll on the Rangers, and I think that there's a little bit of a confidence boost. But I also think that the Angels know that it's like it's not necessarily win a World Series now, although it could be, but it's like we got to have a winning season and get into the postseason because if we don't, this really has the ramifications to be a very bad look on us, considering the Angels probably couldn't afford like a 14-year, $600 million contract with what they have invested into Mike Trout in the long term and stuff. But, what kind of blow could this potentially, be to the Angels if they don't make the postseason and they don't win? And then it's just like, well, you had both Trout and Ohtani. Like, why couldn't you get the job done?
Yeah, it'd be a big blow. They don't make the playoffs or start, proving they can win some games. He ain't gonna want to stay there. He don't want to be putting up these large amount of numbers and not it's not benefiting the team or him. Just like hitting all these home runs, pitching great, and nothing to show for it in the end. But personal success, not team success. It's kind of like how A Rod was when he was on the Rangers, won the MVP, but the team was bad.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, looking at it right now, the Rangers are 43 and 27, and then you have the Astros 39 and 32, and the Angels 40 and 33. and both the Angels and the Astros are 4.5 games back. But ironically, in the Rangers and the Astros last 10 games, they're 3-7, and the Angels are the reciprocal is 7-3. Do you see a pivotal, like maybe movement right now? Because considering where we're at in the season and how things are just going to start to, tear themselves up, do you see, a potential shift where we might see like the unthinkable happening in the AL West?
Um, I think it's gonna be a tight race all the way through. The Angels still in it. I mean, played 7-3 like the last 10 games, like you said. Even the Mariners, well, 8.5 back, kind of trying to hang around. But yes, look like a three-team race right now. Uh, I mean, this division was just to be getting better. I mean, the Angels seem to be maintaining with Trout. Trout managing to stay healthy for the most part. Knew the Rangers were going to be better. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I knew the Astros were going to be solid. Yeah, so pretty much a division that's going pretty much as expected right now, I would say. See if the Angels can continue to keep playing well and the Rangers as well.
Definitely. I agree, but I'm if there's a team that I'm actually surprised about, it is the Mariners, considering how they were last year, but more importantly, it's who they have on their team. But to be and I'm not saying that's all said and done. I mean, you're 8.5 out, which you're only like 4.5 or at least 4 games out from, the two teams in front of you. But I mean, even then, I mean, 34 and 35 now. I mean, the athletics is a whole different story and a whole different ball game. But besides, that, I mean, this division is wide open. That's the thing I like about baseball. Any dramatic shift can happen at any moment, and you're just like, wow, like where did that come from? And I think that's going to be an interesting, rest of the season. I actually like when divisional races are like this early on, and then they start to like get more interesting because just being from a neutral perspective per se, whenever you have a division where like, oh, this team's been like this many games in front of this entire division for this long, it kind of just makes things uninteresting. But then whenever you see, how everything's kind of close, it just shows you like anything can really happen. It's just a matter of when it happens. And overall, I mean, I think that this is going to become a 14 race, and I think it's going to actually get a lot, closer down the line because got to figure with the way that the scheduling is. I don't follow the AL West as much as probably you do, but the fact of the matter is, I haven't really taken a deep dive into a lot of the schedules, but I can almost assume that maybe some of these teams haven't faced each other, that they're going to have some more key matchups coming down later on down the line. They're really going to like put think maybe put the playoff picture to the division picture a little bit more clear of who's going to be where. But I'm interested just because Trout's being healthy, knocking on wood that he stays healthy. That's going to be the key because there have been seasons in the past where Trout has not been healthy, and it's really cost the Angels. And not saying that one guy makes a team, but he's your star player. You want your star to be healthy. And I think he's going all above to make sure that he is healthy in the long stretch.
Yeah, health is a big key with the Angels. Trout missed a lot of games the past 4 years, but been pretty much managed healthy this year. Played at 68 games. So yeah, that's good. As long as he can stay healthy and keep hitting. His batting average is a little lower than what it would be, but I expect him to get that batting average up as the season goes on. And just getting good home run production from Brandon Drury and Hunter Renfro as well too. So they playing pretty good ball right now. Just need to get that figure out what to do with Rendon, man, making all that money and
Oh yeah.
doing nothing.
If there was one thing the Angels have been notorious for these past couple years, I think it's handing out the, not saying that they hand them out, but they sign guys to these lucrative contracts, and it unfortunately comes back to bite them. And it's just like, like, hey man, it's like that's a part of the risk involved, but it's not necessarily the team per se paying them. It's probably more of the insurance company. But even then, I mean, you hate to see those kinds of things. I mean, I know in the past like 3 seasons, Mike Trout has, I believe, had back problems. I know he's had hamstring problems, and I know that the Angels broadcast team brought this up. I think it was one of the broadcasts earlier this week about how, Trout's stolen bases have been down, but like, I think he's focusing on a lot of other things. And I think that, hey, maybe all those stolen bases early on might be catching up to him, but it's not like, you need to be that kind of guy. All the Angels really want is that, you're healthy, you're in the lineup, and, you are producing at a rate that's acceptable for, being paid anywhere between 20 to 30 million dollars a year, or even if that. But I mean, it's good to see where the Angels are. It's just, can
Hmm.
they keep this up? Can they see that little surge? Can they see that happen?
Yeah, when you got a race like this, I mean, the trade deadline become very impactful. A trade here or there can really boost you up. I think the Angels should look into acquiring a couple starting pitchers. I mean, they started
Exactly.
looking at their stats. Their pitcher staff is not all that great. I mean, Otani, he's the ace, but after that, you got Patrick Sandoval with a 4.08 ERA, Tyler Anderson with a 5 ERA, Reed Detmers with 4.48 ERA. So I mean, yeah, if they can get a starting pitcher, get a couple starting pitchers to lift out that staff, they can take that next level to try to get to the playoffs. But we'll see what they do.
I mean, that's where I think it comes into play with Arte Moreno and, his staff and everything. What are they willing to do? You got to look at it as this is a crucial time as the Angels organization as a whole, where, you have a chance to really make something happen. And here's what I tell people. A lot of people are 50-50. Are the Angels buyers, or do they sell Otani? And I tell people, if I'm the Angels, I'm not even looking at, trading Otani right away. Here's what I would look at to do is, it depends on where you're at, but if you're really in the thick of things, I go all in and just say, you know what, I am making trades to really acquire starting pitchers, to do this, to do that, to do anything to not trade Otani away. Because then what does that tell Angels fans? It says you don't believe that you got what it takes, and I think that they do. It's just like you said, they have a few starting pitchers that they just need to get that starting pitching nucleus on top. And I think, the offense will really help them. I mean, Shohei Otani is showing that, he's being consistent. You just need a few other starting pitchers that are consistent. You need to know that, we're not down and out for the count. We are doing what we need to do, and it's just up to us to find a few missing pieces to help elevate. And I think if they do that, it could show signs of optimism that, hey, maybe they're willing to take the chance on Otani in free agency. I mean, who knows? You never know what can happen in the world of sports.
Yeah, I know, but they in a tough situation because if they take a chance, Frazier don't get him back, and he walked for nothing, then
It's hard to say. I
your,
mean,
your franchise is, I mean, pretty much done for a while.
I mean, yes,
It's one
yes.
of those situations where if you don't show he's at least interested in signing back there or what, if he just flat out said I'm not really interested in signing back here, then you gotta trade him. But you ain't gonna say that, so you gotta ride it out and see what happens.
Well, I think that's where it's all about having some
Yeah,
transparent conversations behind closed doors to
yeah,
find, what Otani really wants. Because that's where I think it's about accountability and being, upfront about where you're at and what you. Because I'm pretty sure, Otani's going to give the Angels a solid chance to like match any offers, or like, tell the Angels up front, this is what I want. Because let's be realistic, the Angels paid a hefty price to get him and to
mm-hmm.
bring him over from Japan. So I
Yep,
don't think it's really, it would be a disservice for Otani to even say, I'm just walking. It's just, hey, what do you see? What do you want? And I think that, it's keeping those honest, transparent conversations behind closed doors, but
yeah,
at least knowing what he wants, and at least him being upfront and honest, which I think he's going to do. He's shown
yeah,
us that he's being respectful in that, in this, that, the other, which is great. That's something that's great. But
I just don't think the Angels will be able to keep him if he hit the market. It's gonna be too many other, it's gonna be too many other good teams chasing him, and
well, this is where Arte Moreno gets a chance to show his commitment
yeah,
on how much he really wants to be the
because
owner of the
I
Angels.
mean, if I would be trying to sign him right now if I was Angels, if that was plausible, if that was like if he said, unless he said he didn't want to work on a contract right now, but you gotta. If you hit the open market, you're gonna have teams like the Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees, everybody lining up, Giants lining up all to get him.
Hey,
So
but
it's going to be
let's put
tough,
it this way.
tough situations. Got to get through this year first, but it's going to be definitely one of the hottest topics of the offseason.
I mean that's true. But
Yeah,
let's put it this way: if say if he signs for 5 or 600 million, but it's over a 14-year span, okay?
yeah, yeah.
If you break that down, that might, the longer the term, basically, it depends on how the contracts are structured because it seems like year in and year out, it depends on the salary. Sometimes it might be a flat salary per year. Other times it might dwindle down based off of whatever, or it's hard to say. That's why they got all these agents that know how to do this stuff and, negotiate all these deals. But, it just, it all depends, but I think the longer the term you sign him for, the actual less per year it's going to cost you as a team because then you got to figure this is spread out over an abundance of years versus, say, a 6-year deal that's worth $500 million. And it's like now the dude counts for like 2/4 of my payroll, which is a whole lot different than being, 14 years and say 5 or 600 million, where that might cost you only like a third or a quarter or whatever the case. It won't cost you half. It'll cost you less than that. But, I mean, I agree. There's going to be a lot of teams in the bidding war for him. And, I think it's really, great for him, because it also
Yep.
talks to me on another topic is there's a lot of Japanese players right now that are starting to be two-way players like Otani. And, even on a conversation with Otani, it's like, do you see a surge in Japanese born baseball players that are eventually going to come over to the US and play Major League Baseball where, we're going to see a surge of like two-way players where they can hit and they can pitch, but they can do a consistency where we might see more per se Babe Ruth. It's not saying that they
Possible.
will legit be that, but
Yeah, it's possible.
it definitely is. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, it's possible, man. Especially with you can be able to hit and pitch now, so it'll be fun.
Do you think it serves Otani justice that he's able to DH too? Because, like, most two-way players, you have to spend X amount of time pitching, X
Yeah,
amount of time hitting. And do you think,
yeah.
like, with Otani, it just serves a great purpose?
Uh huh. Definitely plays a factor. Definitely plays a factor.
Oh, it definitely does. That's probably the greatest part about it is it does play a dividend. And but you got to ask yourself, is it really worth the strain? Because right now, and this is another thing you have to look at with a long-term deal like that is right now, even though he's showing, that he can do this in the long term, though, do you think it holds up in 14 years, or does he severely decline in the pitching aspect or in the hitting? Because I'm not here to say that, it's going to go on forever, but there's going to come a time like Michael Jordan. There came a time where, he was a great basketball player, but eventually it's just like there were certain things about him that started to decline. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, how much am I willing to make for this investment? Like if you get half of it, that's great. If you get more than half of it, that's even better. But you can't expect Otani to keep at this form of production for his entire MLB career. It's meritly impossible.
Yeah, it could be tough, but the thing about it is he don't play the field. He just pitches, and when he hits, he's DHing.
That's
So that helps for longevity right there, where he not really in the outfield running around, diving for balls, and stuff like that. It's just when he's when he's hitting and not pitching, he's DH. So I think that definitely helps too. Where
Def
if he's playing like for outfield position or something like that, you know.
No, I totally agree. I think it's a beneficial for Otani to be where he's at because as a DH, you only got to go up there and have three, four, maybe five at bats and stuff, and you can focus on your hitting. It really amazes me how much this dude can really do in batting practice and then still turn around and do it in a game. And you're really just like, dude, like this is really just uns you don't see this. Like this is not what Major League Baseball players do. Like at a certain point, like some players just like I'm focusing on the hitting or the pitching. Like I'm not doing both. But I'm really happy for Otani. It goes to show that stuff that he's done 5, 10, 15 years ago is actually starting to pay dividends for him now. And, hey, if we start to see a bigger wave of that, then that's great. I mean, it goes to show that, hey, you put in the deep practice, you put in, all the hard work and stay consistent now, or, 5, 10 years ago, it's going to pay dividends for you down the line.
Yeah.
Now on to another topic, and I know you really like to talk about this. I'm going to let you actually take this on because the Giants are actually turning some heads right now. I know that they are in a battle with the Dodgers, and I want you to take this on. Tell us all about this young Giants movement that you're starting to see.
Yeah, Giants started the season, playing 500 ball and it kind of fell behind. But then they started calling all the young rookies up that was down in AAA doing well, and they all come up and have had some success. You got Patrick Bay, the catcher. He had 2 hits last night when the Giants won 15-0 against the Dodgers, going for the sweep today. Casey Smith came up and did some good things. He struggled a little bit, but he drove in a run last night. And we had also have Luis Matos, who was killing it down in AAA Sacramento for the River Cats. Got called up this week. Had a couple hits last night, scored 4 runs, and yeah, all these young players coming up, breathing some life in the Giants, and it's uh it's good to see, man. Like back in the day, man, these back in the '90s and stuff, you draft a player and it would take them 5, 6, even more time to come up. Now they hit and they coming up right away. I mean, it's good. It's helped the Giants turn their season around. Now they playing a little bit better baseball. Still kind of up and down, but I mean, you can see that the young kids are bringing some life to the team. And you also got Michael Conforto, got 12 homers. J.D. Davis got 10 homers. Been a good addition for the Giants in the trade last year. So it's just can they maintain it and continue to play well?
No, that's true. That's spot on. Just to give everybody a hint, the Giants are 4.5 out of first place in the NL West. And I actually really want to touch on this because I don't think nobody's seen this coming in the NL West. The Diamondbacks are 43 and 28. Dodgers are 39 and 32. The Giants are 38 and 32. And I like how you hinted on something about, I believe it was yesterday's game that they won like 15-0 or something. I think that's the second largest margin of victory for a Giants Dodgers game for the Giants since like 1940. And I found that stat interesting because that just says how close these Giants and Dodgers games are. But more importantly, it just shows that, hey, like both of these teams, they really come to play. But I'm really happy for the Giants, because a lot of people would ultimately look and say the NL West, that's the Dodgers division, always win. And you're seeing that, now the Dodgers have found themselves in unfamiliar territory because normally around this time they are in first place and they're not. The Diamondbacks are there, but I guess it also gives, the Giants a little bit of added extra motivation. But seeing this youth movement, I think it really goes to show that, hey, like it's time to see the next wave of what the Giants could really be come up. And I think that goes to show a lot just because, hey, sometimes what really puts a team to that next level is it's ownership, front office, and the organization believing in this young core that says, you know what, like we see like we got veterans up here, but like I think if we see this youth movement, it's really gonna pay dividends down the line. And then in turn it sees that these youth guys and all those guys you just mentioned, it shows that, hey, this organization believes in us, and that could propel something to the next level that you didn't even think you could see. And being 4.5 games out, like realistically, if the Giants sweep the Dodgers, which is a possibility, this could ultimately be 4 games out, and a lot has shifted. I mean, the Giants are 8-2 in their last 10. The Dodgers are 4-6, and the D-backs are 7-3. And let's see here, pointing out who the Giants face next, and go figure, it's the Padres. But the Giants are at home. So it's like, I think I could see a lot of turnaround here, Lamar. I'm excited to see what the Giants could possibly make. And is this all about making the most of your opportunity and really showing fans that this is why the games are played on the field and not just on paper?
Yeah, and go back to Friday night. I was watching the Giants and Dodgers game, the first game of the series. Dodgers Dodgers rookie Emmett Sheehan was pitching for the we got Dodgers, and he didn't give up no hits through 6 innings, and the Dodgers pulled him out, and the Dodgers were up 4-0. Soon as they pulled him out, the Giants scored uh, 5 runs off the next two pitchers, ended up winning the extra inning. So it goes to show you baseball's a funny baseball's a funny game, man. Dodgers had all that momentum with the kid pitching, and they pulled him out and ended up losing the game. But yeah, you gotta play hard every night, man. You play hard, get a break here and there, and you could stack some wins, and your confidence goes up. It's what about sports is about confidence. You come up, do well, and your confidence, and once you got high confidence, you can do a lot of things. But like I said, still a long season to go. So I mean, even if the long season to go, the Giants are started out slow but playing good. 8-2 in their last 10 games. Going for the sweep today. Let's see if they can complete it and take over second place in the division.
Kind of reminds me of other instances where, teams have
Oh,
had pitchers doing
mm-hmm,
good, and then they take
mm-hmm.
that pitcher out, and then it's like the whole game in scripture just flips. And it's just like, if only you would have held that guy in there a little longer, maybe the outcome have been a little different.
Yeah, and this is a key stretch for the Giants as well. Me and my buddy was talking about this uh, early this week because the Giants play at the Dodgers for 3. They wrap that up today. Then they come home for San Diego for 4. Then the big series, what I want to see next weekend is Arizona comes to San Francisco for 3.
Oh, that is going to be
That's
huge.
gonna be so if the Giants, can complete the sweep today, somehow take 3 out of 4 from San Diego. San Diego always play the Giants tough, so that's gonna be a tough one. Sets up a big early season series next weekend
Oh,
with the Diamondbacks.
I I look at some of these schedules and I just see, I think this is the turning point in the season for a lot of them, because they're starting to get a hot or a little hot, and they start to see that simmering movement. And it's like, boom, you start to face teams that like are key important factors. And it's just like, boom, like this is like a turning point in the season for teams, whether it's good or bad. Like, it really determines line. And it's just like, man, like they needed to hit that series at the right time. I think this is a crucial time for the Giants. You got the Padres and you got the first place Diamondbacks. Not that looking ahead matters, but whenever you look at the Giants, you look where they are. The Padres are behind us, and they're behind us by like 4 games, ironically, I think. And ironic how there's a 4 game series, and it's like, oh, and the Diamondbacks are next weekend. Like, this is a pivotal time frame in every team's schedule that I think that is very crucial. And I'm very interested. If you had a prediction of how the Giants week might work out in favor, what would you say?
Uh, the season's going, they've been up and down, so it can go either way. They can sweep the Dodgers and very well lose 3 out of 4 to the Padres. That's just the way the season's been going. But Giants come to play hard every day, if they can just keep hitting and play tough. Giants always play Dodgers tough, but like I said, this next series will be key because the Padres always get the Giants fits. So I know they trying to turn their season around too as well. So I mean, it's gonna be a fun series in San Francisco.
There are two other topics that I really want to get on. I know we have a little bit less than 10 minutes, so we're going to shoot at it. The
Mm-hmm.
the Vegas move with the A's is looking to gain more traction. I want your thoughts on what this really could mean. And do you think that in return, it's going to cause the A's owner to actually want to spend more considering other factors that are involved?
Yeah, if they once they move to Vegas, he's gonna have to spend more because nobody gonna want to go see a team like that. And I think he will spend more because got no choice. Because especially with all the things that Vegas doing to get the teams there, rushing through the votes without even getting the people vote. So yeah, he would have to.
I'm an advocate for the people. $380 million of taxpayer funded stuff to help get a stadium. You bet as an owner, you better have at least $100 million payroll because
Yeah.
for them to actually rush through the process to do that, as an owner, you can't sit there and say
Mhm.
I don't have no city support, especially if Vegas is willing to do that. I think that in some ways it's going to cause the A's owner to want to spend more and to advocate more and say at least some cities finally behind us or something like that. I mean, I don't know what it is about Vegas and people moving there, but I'm for it. If it helps the owner turn around, then hey, it helps the owner turn around.
Yeah, Vegas is man because it's got the nightlife so much to do. I mean, it's warm, hot. I mean, shit. Pretty soon they're gonna have everything out there.
Hey,
Uh, it's life. I love going there, especially with all these with the sport, with all these sports gear now. Shoot. One Sunday you catch the A's. One Sunday the A's and Raiders could be playing at the same time and be crazy.
hey,
It's just
like I
wild
says,
time.
I'm all for it. Whatever helps make it happen, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. There's one thing I don't know if you have anything more on that. I know we can dive into more and have a segment in a future podcast about that.
Mhm. No, I'm good on that.
But I do want to touch on something because I knew this was going to happen. All of a sudden, the Pirates beat up on the Reds, they beat up on the Cardinals, and then go figure. I told people, I says, watch it come to the Brewers and the Cubs in this team struggles. Out of this 12 game stretch that's happening, they're facing the Cubs twice, I believe, and then they have the Brewers coming up again. But they've lost two or three to the Cubs. They've lost two out of the three so far to the Brewers. And what do you know? The Reds bring up a young youth movement, and the Reds are making some noise. I knew this was going to happen, and this is what I tell people is this: you beat up on the two teams that really you should beat up on, but the teams you should be beating up on, or at least trying to take two out of three, and they're crumbling. I mean, I'm thankful for what the Pirates have done so far, but to me, it just seems like I wonder if the reciprocal happened and they faced the Cubs and the Brewers early on, would the Pirates actually be sitting where they're at? I mean, they've taken a back seat. The last I checked at these standings, they are in third place. They're 1.5 games out. Brewers are 36 and 34. The Reds that used to be at the bottom are now at the top of it, or a half game out, and it, it's just crazy because now you see that the Reds get the Rockies, which that should honestly be easy just looking at where the Rockies are. But then whenever you look at the Brewers and they still have the Pirates, but then go figure, the Brewers have the Diamondbacks tomorrow at home. I really just I love how the scheduling is like kind of working its way out, tweaking its way out. But I knew that this was going to be an issue because now, whenever you look at the Pirates and what their future has, okay,
Yeah.
they have the Cubs at home this week, and then go figure they're away at the Marlins.
Yeah, the Cubs are won 5 in a row, 7-3 in the last 10, and Pirates lost 5 in a row and 2-8 in the last 10. Had a nice comfortable lead before in the first place before they started losing. But young team, that's what happens. Up and
They need to
down.
make some trades to, get like a better mixture. Like, but in all honesty, though, I actually don't think they need to do that because sometimes I think that the youth need to see, okay, this is what it feels
Yeah.
like to actually be in it. But that's like this is what it also feels like that you got to beat these teams, and they just got to find a way to like beat Milwaukee. They don't have a great series history with Milwaukee. It just seems like Milwaukee plays them especially tough in Milwaukee. I don't understand it. I don't, but.
Yeah, and the Reds and the Reds another team that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Giants bringing up young players and that put the injury in the team. And look at the other crews for the Reds. So Z come up, they start playing better. I mean, you only hit 256 one homer, but it's just the life and presence. Feeling put more butts in the stadium and energizing the team.
I think what it's really going to come down to is right now is a crucial point where the Pirates miss O'Neal Cruz a lot, and that
Yeah,
injury is becoming very vital down the line. And I also think that maybe you see how Henry Davis is performing, but you might take the risk and bring him up. Maybe sometimes I think that in a star that you draft per se. Sometimes it's like, okay, they might be stalling at the minor league level because they've proven that they can handle the minor league level. Now it's time to give that big leap and bring them up to the major league level. And maybe that's where the rest of their development needs to take place. I mean,
yeah.
I'm an advocate for calling Henry Davis up. Like, you can call him up any minute now. Like, I mean, I would really dislike to see the Pirates like be in this situation and they miss a crucial movement in development, and that's bringing up Henry Davis. That's bringing up some more of their youth to where it's just like, okay, this is what really needed to happen. And it's just like, but you had the opportunity, you didn't do it. Just bring him up. Like, okay, if he crumbles a little bit, he crumbles, but maybe that's where he needs to do the rest of his development is up in the major leagues. Why did you draft a guy in a position you drafted him in if you're not going to do that?
He's in what, AAA right now?
Yeah, he just got called up not too long ago.
Yeah, look at the stats. He played 10 games, batting 286. Yeah, give him a couple more. Yeah,
Pirates front office and ownership, just bring him up. Just bring him up. It's long overdue. This guy has proven he can hit both Double A and Triple A.
hmm
I think the rest of development needs to take place at the minor league level. I mean, oh my God, the major league level, the major
yeah,
league level.
yeah.
I think it'll help them. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Well, I know we're approaching close to a minute left. Anything more you got to add on this, Lamar?
No, good.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the MLB Inside the Diamond podcast. For LaMarr Fields, I'm Tom Johnston, and we wish you all a happy Father's Day. And whatever you guys are doing, maybe going to the ballpark, whatever. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the day with your kids and you guys make everlasting memories.